Welcome, all professional wrestling fans, to the PW Fan. The PW Fan is a pro wrestling podcast created by fans for the fans. Thank you for joining us. This is episode 91. I am one of your hosts, your grumpy old school wrestling fan, collector, barber, singer, and guitarist of Fallbright, Fallbright, who just played an awesome show on Saturday, Talk Wrestling, Tim Gilbert.
And I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcast, Funko Pop Collector, Booker Andy.
I'm also a host, the No Selling Wrestling Indie fan and football lover, Jeremy.
Well, guys, we have a good show today. We're going to be talking about Dark Side of the Ring, the Bloodline, FTR versus Bullet Club Gold, and more. Make sure you stick around to the end, and we'll be talking about my classic show of the week recommendation. Before we get into all the social media stuff, Jeremy, we're back. How was England, buddy? How was it?
It was amazing. I actually got to go to Liverpool. That's always behind me, and if you can watch on YouTube, which was amazing to see, and also see the stadium. It's only something I've seen on TV, so it's kind of crazy to be standing there. And also went to London, went to Glasgow in Scotland to a music festival, and then went to Dublin in Ireland. So it's a crazy trip. It was fun.
Well, if you didn't know, we were gone last week because Jeremy went over to the UK and sounded like he really enjoyed himself. That's awesome, buddy. And then looks like you got to see a little bit of Europe as well. So that's is that considered, like, if you leave England, is that considered Europe? Or is that still considered UK?
Yeah, I mean, if you stay like within like Scotland and Ireland, like we did, that's still part of like the UK.
Right.
But because of Brexit and everything, they're not really part of Europe.
Our British listeners are putting the finger guns to the head right now, just listening to how stupid I sound.
Yeah. I did have a layover in Iceland, so that was kind of cool too to see Iceland.
I've heard it's gorgeous there, like 10 out of 10, green,
it was like,
beautiful.
It's crazy from leaving from BWI where I left that in Baltimore, from like it being like 90 degrees, and we had a layover in Iceland, and it was 40 degrees when we got there, and I was in a t-shirt and shorts.
That's crazy.
I was freezing.
Yeah, and he said 90 degrees, if anybody didn't hear him. It's been hot as hell up here in the Northeast. It's been awful. So that probably had to be nice to get a little bit of a break from that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jeremy is back. We're happy to have him. We're happy to be here. YouTube.com/@thepwfan. Go there right now. Hit the subscribe button. And we got all of our video content on there. Every episode we've ever recorded. Couple TikTok type things. Nothing crazy. We only got a few of those. Merch on prowrestlingtees.com/thepwfan. Plenty of shirt designs, and we got a new one coming this year. And for all other social media, we ask you to please look up at the PW Fan, where we should pop right up. Please leave a review, subscribe, follow, whatever that your app of choice says to do. If you could do that, that really helps us out so much. And like I said before, stick around at the end. We'll talk about my classic show of the week. Andy, before I pass it over to you, Booker Andy, how was your week off? Did you do anything cool? Did you do anything fun? Tell the people.
No, unfortunately, I did not. I just relaxed. Besides work during the week, on the weekend, nice. I just decided to relax, and I got to play some Final Fantasy 16 and watch some TV. It's great. It's fucking awesome. Yeah, it's very, very good. It's long. There's a lot of cutscenes. There's like 0.2 hours of cutscenes, but
wow.
I think the people at home every now and then like to hear a little bit about our real life. We're not only talking about wrestling. It seems that some analytics on YouTube I saw, people like when we talk about stuff like that. The only thing
did you do anything, Tim?
The only thing I did was my band played a show at a cool punk venue in Pennsylvania. It was fun to travel with the guys a little bit, and we got there early. We loaded in, got all the stuff set up on stage, and went and had a very beautiful dinner and got a couple of drinks at a bar, walked back over and played. It was a very pleasant experience. We didn't really fit in with any of the other bands. They were all punk rock type bands, but it was still very fun regardless, and all the people were super cool. So that is all I did. But we got a lot of pro wrestling, RASSLIN, to talk about. Andy, I'm going to pass it over to you. Let's get going, dude. We got some.
Can I just say one quick thing?
Yeah, please do.
Because when I was telling Andy this right before we started, because like when I came back from the trip and everything, and I was like, I got to catch up on wrestling. I was like, holy shit! There's so many shows to watch right now,
Dude, there's
so much wrestling.
So much wrestling, so much going on. We're going to talk about it. I feel like now the AEW fan bases are getting split in two with Dynamite and
Collision.
It just seems weird. Everything's weird. Andy, why don't you take us there? Let's talk about some wrestling for the last 2 weeks.
Well, before we start, we're all watching Raw right now. There was just a preview for Cody Rhodes' long-awaited documentary called I think Becoming an American Nightmare, and it showed
in my soul,
and it showed footage from his independent.
Was Dusty Rhodes?
Do you think it's going to show AEW stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it showed stuff about him in Ring of Honor and whatnot. I think it's going to show like how he became the American Nightmare.
Yeah.
Kind of
Is he going to talk about his dad?
I mean, it looked like it.
100% he is.
Andy.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Is he going to talk about his dad? Yes, he's definitely going to. Andy, do you remember when he first became the American Nightmare character and he was in Ring of Honor and he had like the ring instead of the title belt and he first joined the Bullet Club? I remember, gosh, we might have still been living at
the first time I ever saw him was at Wrestle Kingdom. That was the first time I ever saw him in the American Nightmare.
But
I remember the video of him smoking a cigar.
But I remember I showed you his entrance, and he comes out, and he had like the new look with like I think he was wearing like a leather jacket at the time, and I was like, dude, this guy is gonna be the man. I'm telling you. And that was like 7 years ago or 6 years ago or whatever. Now, here we are, and he's the man, dude. So
he's the top guy. So before we get into what happened this week, I want to talk about a couple of things besides Roman. Yeah, until he dethrones Roman.
Yeah. Finishes the story.
So I want to talk about a couple of things that happened last week that we did miss talking about. Kind of go quickly through them. Unfortunately, the wrestler Droz passed away. We didn't get a chance to say our condolences to him and his family.
Yeah, that's a wrestler I really feel like I'm glad that you took a second to stop and admire. If not anything, like if people weren't familiar with his wrestling career, I mean, he was a Denver Bronco. He played in the NFL. He became a pro wrestler. He was named Puke, and then they switched it to Droz. He was hanging out with in the storyline. Well, that's what I was getting at. A lot of people might not remember his wrestling career, but I feel like tons of people, even if you weren't around, have seen Beyond the Mat. And that scene in Beyond the Mat where Vince does you gonna be sick? He's gonna puke. He's gonna puke. I mean, that's like all-time classic Vince McMahon.
It's a famous scene.
Yeah, like pretty much I feel like if you're like hardcore into wrestling, you've seen that scene somehow. And like, I mean, I don't know if that's what you'd want to be known for, but I mean, that whole scene in Beyond the Mat is like very heartwarming because he calls his mom and he said, "You'll be real proud of me, Mama. I'm now known as Puke." And then unfortunately at the end of the documentary they talk about how he was injured and is now paralyzed. And I just remember always as a kid watching the end of that documentary with the haunting music playing, and it says like Darren Drozdoff suffered an accident and is now paralyzed, and like always just being like so bummed. That documentary is so sad. Beyond the Mat's great though. It's fantastic. But yeah, he's really stuck with me as a character through my childhood. Just, I would say mostly because of that documentary. Like I remember him wrestling, but that documentary has stuck with me for years.
And like you said, he was injured. His career was cut short. He got injured in a match with D'Lo Brown.
But Andy's
I've seen it
that
a bunch of times. You used to watch
it
all the time.
Yeah, we used to watch it.
Yeah, it's all Tim used to play. When we were young. Either you know,
I was a really healthy child, wasn't I? I just would watch Beyond the Mat.
You buy what you can when you're younger. Yeah,
there wasn't a lot of wrestling
2002.
content back. Yeah, on VHS.
Okay. Also, what I want to talk about is Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar end up brawling. It seems like we're going to have a rubber match between the two at SummerSlam. Real quick, I want to talk about this Ronda Rousey Shayna Baszler segment. Who knew Shayna could really talk? It's been a while. I think we forgot. And then she gave Ronda a knee. It actually made me kind of a little bit more invested. This segment made me invested kind of in their story.
She basically roasted Ronda.
Yeah, and the crowd loved that she was roasting Ronda the whole time.
I love how every crowd hates Ronda.
Yeah. So I thought that was good. And then Don Callis started planting the seeds to want Jericho to join him. They have a bit of a history.
Did you see
the first time?
I was going to say,
Don Callis, do you see that he was actually...
Are we going to talk about it?
He actually got attacked by someone, like, legitimately.
In AAA.
Yeah, I heard about that at the press conference or the post interview or something.
According to the great Brian Last from the Wrestling News and Cornette's Drive-Thru and all those other great shows, the Mothership podcast, he said that he talked to somebody and that it wasn't a fan, it was a photographer who was not smartened up to the situation. So somebody thought something was going on. It's like, Jesus Christ, guys.
Decided to beat him up.
Oh, my God.
I mean, honestly, if he got beat up, I feel bad for him. I mean, he plays a heel on TV. I'm sure he's like a nice guy.
He did get hurt. He did get hurt, but not enough to make him not show up for Blood and Guts this week.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. Right. That's real heel heat, brother.
Yeah.
Photographer starts beating you.
We got to see the combined entrance, babyface entrance, I'd say, of MJF and Adam Cole together for the first time.
This
which
stuff
was
is
hilarious
amazing to me. I love this.
I love the Adam Cole MJF stuff. It also ended with a birthday celebration for Adam Cole, which it was also Tim's birthday on that same day, last Wednesday, July 5th. And there was a segment after their win during the tournament that MJF wanted to put the pie in Adam Cole's face, but Adam Cole ended up, or not pie, cake in Adam Cole's face. Adam Cole ended up putting in MJF's. And it was a fun little segment. It's weird to see MJF like this right now, but
I've literally thought for years that, like, and I don't mean this in like a main character syndrome kind of way, but like just joking around, like I always thought like Adam Cole is my like world, like bizarro world doppelganger. Not like how we look, but like we have the same we have the same birthday. We both have like the same favorite wrestlers. He literally has like the dream job that like I always. When I was a kid, I was like, I mean, I'm
both short.
Yeah, we're both short.
You both have piercing blue eyes.
Yeah, I look exactly like him. I don't know if you
longer
can
hair
see.
too.
Yeah, we're like, dude. We're like
Tim has cut his brother's hair.
I did cut Adam Cole.
Yeah, he cut Adam Cole's brother's hair, I believe.
Yeah.
Because they're not far from that area, right? They're not too far from where you guys are.
Really?
I don't think so, right?
No, yeah, they're from where I am. Yeah, they're from where I'm from.
Or where you're at.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then I want to talk about real quick.
No, I just was going to say, moving on from that, what do you got next for us?
Oh, I want to talk about the trial of the tribal chief, which Roman got to see a bunch of past footage of him treating the bloodline bad, and he ended up saying that's not him, that's what he had to do. And during this segment, Jimmy Uso gets taken out, and he gets taken out on a stretcher, and then later on in the night, Jey Uso comes out and he lays down a challenge for Roman. So it sounds like we're gonna have Jey Uso versus Roman at SummerSlam. But but the trial of the tribal chief I thought was very, very good, and apparently it did big numbers as well. And
didn't
backstage
they take out Jimmy because he's actually hurt, right?
Yeah, he is hurt. From what I read,
that's kind of tough though.
And it's the same reason why Jay became main event Jey Uso before. It's because Jimmy got hurt, and then they put Jay in that spot. Lastly, I don't know about you guys if you guys were able to get to it, but Dark Side of the Ring from this past week, not from the week that Jeremy was gone, but from this week to talk about this episode was on Adrian Adonis.
So I wanted to talk
Any
about
of you guys
that.
get a chance to?
I didn't get to watch it.
I didn't get to watch this one this week, which I'm disappointed in. And I you know me, guys, like this, like Dark Side of the Ring is that's my shit. I watch every episode. It's my favorite show. So I will 100% watch it this week and do a little review of it on episode 92 next week. But Andy, can you take us through a little bit of that episode and like tell us anything about it?
I can try, or we can double down on Dark Side of the Ring next week if you guys would like to.
Let's if you don't
talk about both.
If the people at home don't mind, because I'd really like to get into this episode because it's one of my favorite parts of the podcast. Can we talk Dark Side next week on episode 92?
So next week we'll be talking about Adrian Adonis then, and we'll also be talking about this week's episode, which is Abdullah the Butcher.
Yeah, so we'll do a good
infamous for his in-ring bloodbath.
We'll do a good Dark Side segment next week. 2 episodes.
So the description for the Abdullah episode is infamous for his in-ring bloodbaths. Abdullah the Butcher was a money-making phenomenon, but after 50 years of pushing boundaries, one cut cost him everything. Yeah, I mean, everything I've ever seen on Abdullah the Butcher is crazy, so I'm sure that's going to be an interesting episode as well.
He scared me when I was a kid. When I was a kid, my dad, Andy remembers, our dad bought me this yellow book. It was like a kid's book called Wrestling Madness and had madness.
Does he have all the scars on his forehead?
Yes. Yeah, so when I was a kid, I used to read that page over and over again, and his page about him used to freak me out, man. Yeah, it was like a book that had like wrestlers and a mini bio for kids, and he was in there, and it used to scare me. I was like, who the F is this guy? Yeah. When you're like 9, I was like, who is this dude putting a fork in somebody's head?
It's a good book, though. I remember that book vividly.
Oh, yeah. We used to look through that all the time.
But, okay, so that's the stuff I want to talk about from the week that we missed. So let's get into Raw from this past week. Finn Balor opened up the show. He talks about his issue with Damian Priest, costing him what he thought he was costing him the championship at Money in the Bank and everything that's been going on with them. Dominic and Rhea would end up coming out trying to convince Balor to settle things backstage. I believe Finn would eventually walk away, and then when he was gone, Rollins would come out to taunt Dominic. And this would lead to a match later on between them. Tim's favorite, Matt Riddle, teamed up with Drew McIntyre during and defeated Imperium.
It's too aggressive.
I believe they faced Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci. Giovanni is the one that got pinned.
He needs to put some clothes on.
Let me just say this, all right? It doesn't matter.
I don't care about the match.
It has nothing to do with guys or like whatever. Like I know it sounds like that, but hear me out, all right? Just hear me out. When the ladies are wrestling, right? When they come out, they got a little skin showing. I'm cool with that. I'm like, nice. Now, if they were just out there wrestling in a fucking thong in a bra, I'd be like, that's too much. Like, that's too much going on there. So that's how I feel about Matt Riddle. I'm like, put something on.
If he added elbow pads and knee pads and boots, it'd
Andy,
be fine,
I don't know. I don't know about that anymore. The argument's not working.
All right, well.
With the elbow pads and knee
He's
pads.
not wearing anything different than most of the guys.
It's just he looks way more naked. I don't know why.
Yeah. He looks like he's just in his underwear running around like a toddler.
It's too much.
That's what it looks like. Anyway, Giovanni Vinci would end up taking the pin, and Gunther would end up reprimanding him afterwards. Dominic Mysterio interrupted Sami and Kevin backstage, which of course Kevin freaked out a little bit. How you broke the rule? He broke the rule again. Then we had Seth Rollins versus Dominic Mysterio. Balor and Priest ended up attacking. Kevin and Sami come out to help, and this will lead to a 6-man tag later on in the show for the main event. Ricochet had a segment where they start hyping up the feud for him and Logan Paul at SummerSlam. Logan Paul would end up coming out, talking some shit. I mean, the guy knows how to make the crowd,
Oh,
hate
yeah.
him.
He's a perfect heel.
That's for sure.
Well, because he's
Ricochet
very
did the
unlikable as a human in real life.
Yes.
So he doesn't have to try very hard. He's like I'm a
Ricochet
rich.
would end up.
He's like I'm a rich douchebag. Okay, I'll just be myself. No problem.
Yeah.
Just be the worst version of myself. You got it. Ricochet would
Ricochet
end
did
up
a
doing.
flip.
He did the flip over the top rope like he did the Velveteen Dream in NXT. However, from what I noticed, the reaction was not quite what NXT reaction.
Nope, not even close.
Not even close. It felt really bad. But
Yeah.
Logan Paul tried to sell it as it being super cool, and they have a quick brawl, which ends up with Logan Paul being on his back in the end.
If you had to listen, I'm going to ask each of you individually. Me and my brother Tristan, we wake up every morning. No, I'm just kidding. If you guys had to watch 10 hours as torture, 10 hours of Andrew Tate videos or 10 hours of Logan and what's his brother and Jake Paul videos, they're them together. So the Paul brothers talking all day or the Tate brothers talking all day, who would you rather listen to for 10 hours straight?
I mean, I would choose the Paul brothers because I can't stand Andrew Tate at all.
I mean, no one can stand Andrew Tate except for his top G members. Top G.
Andy might go the other way with this one.
All right, can I just say
Cobra Tate?
God,
the criminal.
Cobra Tate, dude, he's hilarious.
All right, I will say
he knows he's being an asshole.
I will say, if I had to listen to them all day, even though I would say Andrew Tate is the bigger scumbag from like.
It's hilarious because it's ridiculous what he says.
Yeah, he's the bigger scumbag for the things he's probably like done. I will say. I mean, the Paul brothers aren't innocent either with the whole Japanese suicide forest.
You mean
thing.
about human trafficking?
Right. Yeah. So, yeah,
But
I would
hearing
say
Andrew Tate talk about how he makes his girl make him 2 cups of coffee, but he's only going to drink 1. It's like, so over the top and ridiculous. It's entertainment.
That's what I'm saying. The Paul brothers would talk about how like awesome they were for 10 hours, and like that would like really annoy me.
It's not over top, and it's like just serious and narcissistic.
But the Tate brothers are just so stupid and funny that I don't know, like I might have to like listen to them because everything they would say would make me be shocked, and I'd laugh a whole bunch of times because I'd be like, "There's no way that these guys are serious." But they are.
I find him hilarious. The same reason why like Tom Segura had him on his podcast because it's just so ridiculous.
They're out of control, dude. My algorithm unfortunately thinks that like I like Andrew Tate.
Andrew?
It like makes me. It makes that's how I even know who he is. It like makes me watch him, and then there's this other dude who's like, I know we're on a tangent here, but there's this other guy. He's way worse. He's worse than Andrew Tate. He's like the southern version. Like where he's like, if a girl has an OnlyFans, I would tell her, like, you're just not dating material. Like he's like the worst. Like he's like Andrew Tate, but like southern
AJ
version.
Styles. That's what you sound like right now.
It's dude, it's unbearable. I can't even remember the guy's name, but moving on.
What's the line from AJ Styles again?
The gay community.
Oh my god, the gay community. All right, Zoe Stark defeated Becky Lynch via distraction from Trish Stratus. Maxine Dupree, Tim's like, who? It's the girl that's teamed up with Alpha Academy. She graduates from the
I
Alpha
see her on
Academy.
Instagram all the time, posting by the pool.
See her or look her up. And then we had a Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler confrontation where Shayna dared Ronda to come into the ring, which she did, and I believe Ronda got the upper hand in the end. We had a Cody Rhodes segment, another huge, ovation. He talked about Lesnar, just trying to. Though Lesnar did not show up, he just tried to, continue that whole feud and hype for their match at SummerSlam. The Miz would end up defeating Tommaso Ciampa in a no DQ match because of Bronson Reed's involvement. Now, I think Johnny Gargano might be injured again, and that's why they haven't done this DIY stuff. But
that sucks.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We had a Raquel Rodriguez and Rhea Ripley backstage stare down, which I think even though she is the tag champ right now, I think this is what we're getting in the future. If y'all remember, Raquel is the one that beat Rhea for the NXT title in NXT, and they had some good matches down there.
I don't know about you guys. Did you guys think the Judgment Day looked really out of place on NXT? I was like, something about this just does not work, like visually.
Tim, you watched NXT?
I watched a little bit of it. I know. I didn't watch Dark Side of the Ring, my favorite
Carmelo
show,
Hayes.
but I somehow watched a little bit of NXT.
Carmelo Hayes is him.
Don't worry, I didn't.
That's what he says.
It might be canceled, but I definitely did not watch Dark this week. That did not change. Or Rampage.
Dark. You mean Rampage?
Yeah, a.k.a. Rampage.
Did you watch Battle of the Belt 7? I didn't even write it down on here. I can tell you guys what happened, but that'll be later.
Nothing changed, right?
No, never does.
Yeah, so.
Meltzer said it was a 5-star classic.
Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Seth Rollins teamed up against the Judgment Day. Winners were the Judgment Day in the end, and that wraps up Raw. Anything to add?
No.
All right, let's get into Dynamite, guys.
Oh, what about the? I think we were
all right this week.
We were off during the. Weren't we off during the Chris Van Vliet interview with Dave Meltzer, where he said, "I was surprised to learn that Kurt Angle never had a 5-star match," and he says, "Well, yeah, but he's had tons of 4 3/4, which is basically the same thing." And then Chris Van Vliet's like, "But it's not the same thing."
Yeah, I'm glad he fucking called him on his bullshit throughout that.
By the way, I just want to, a lot of our listeners don't know this, and I'm going to spread the word every time. Okay, ready? Everybody, put their ears in close. Dave Meltzer did not invent the star rating system. Weasel Dooley and Jim Cornette invented the star rating system, and they stole it from the TV guide.
No, he just made it famous.
Yeah, they stole it from the TV guide. Dave Meltzer liked the idea, took it, and put it in his magazine or whatever. So the guy
he's a journalist and has a magazine.
The guy who invented the 5-star rating thinks that Dave Meltzer's 5-star ratings are bullshit. So there you go.
I mean, really, I don't understand the ratings, like the stars ratings, anyways, because I'm like, there's some matches that I love, and they're like 2-star matches to some other people.
So basically, Corny's version was, he said, just like the TV guy, you had a dud, which was absolutely awful, worst thing you've ever seen. You had a 1-star, which was like, this is pretty bad, it's stinking up the joint. 2 stars, which was like, hopefully we don't see too much more of this. 3 stars a standard, solid match. 4-star is you tore the house down, and 5-star is you tore the house down and the babies are flying in the air and people are flipping the fuck out. And then he's like, and it was that easy. He's like, there wasn't any weirdness to it. I listened to the whole Chris Van Vliet thing. Meltzer was like, hey, sometimes at the end I feel this, and then, it's like his ring doesn't make any sense.
Well, I'll tell you, this week we did have a 5-star match on one of the shows.
Oh yeah, I'd say so. We'll get to it.
Meltzer's like, actually, it was about 3 1/4.
It's like
Meltzer's like, 3
4 3/4.
Yeah, Bucks were in it.
All right. Enough about Meltzer. I don't want to give him any more time on here.
On ours.
All right, Dynamite. Dynamite opened with Chris Jericho defeating Commander. After the match, Don Callis comes out to continue trying to get Jericho to join him. He plays an old video of them as a tag team back in the day, and I guess tried to, bring that nostalgia to Jericho and show that they were a good team or something together at one point. Don Callis used to have really long hair. He looked goofy.
He's Cyrus the Virus from EC Dub.
That was his name?
Cyrus,
his music is funny when he comes out.
Dude, Don Callis has been around a long time, and he didn't always go by Don Callis, but yeah, for our older fans, Don Callis used to have super long hair, and he was known as Cyrus in ECW, and he was the representative of the network TNN, and he'd get on the ring and he'd say, the network is not very happy with the content that you guys have been putting, and he would pretend that he was from the cable channel, saying that ECW was too risque.
Risque.
Moving forward, we had a blind eliminator tag tournament match. Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia versus Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy. Winners, which I thought was surprising, was Sammy and Daniel Garcia.
I like how that's like the blind tag team is the two who were already tagging together.
Mm-hmm. MJF and Adam Cole segment. You want to talk about this? They were at a bar where
this was
MJF
hilarious.
went to the back with some girls while Adam Cole decided to stick around and
He apparently had
drink.
sex with 4 girls.
Yeah, or something like that. Adam Cole.
Dude, I did not want, like, when they started doing this, I was like, guys, please don't do this. And, like, I thought it was going to hurt MJF.
It's kind of the best thing going on AEW TV right now.
It's
become my favorite, besides the Punk stuff and FTR. It's become, like, my favorite AEW.
You fucking Mark.
Yeah, you Mark.
So, yeah, they're at the bar. MJF takes some girls back. I don't know if Adam Cole was actually drinking, but the camera came back to him. He's like, hey, cameraman. He was, like, all in his face.
Oh, I made my bandmates laugh. They didn't even really know what it meant, but, like, they kind of understood, like, just the way I said it. After we played, I sweated through my shirt so bad because it was so fucking hot, and I didn't bring an extra shirt with me, so I put on one of our own band shirts to, like, just have a clean shirt on, and I was, like, walking around, and I was like, I feel like a fucking mark. I'm wearing my own band shirt. And they understood what I meant, even though they didn't really, like, understand the reference. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Sorry. After the bar scene, though, they ended up playing video games.
Video game.
They played Fight Forever, and Max is like, oh, video games are fun when you actually are playing with people. And MJF's or Adam Cole's like, what? Like,
He's
you
like,
never had anyone to play with?
Games?
Oh yeah, because we didn't get to talk about because we were off when he called him on his stream and was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Hey Max, I'm streaming right now. I like to keep this and wrestling separate." He's like, "Oh yeah, that's cool, man. But you're not like playing video games like some fucking nerd, are you?" And then he's like, "Max, I gotta go." He just, like, hangs up on him.
There was one I saw today though that had to do with MJF on Adam Cole's streaming, but MJF donates to Chugs' stream.
Oh yeah.
This is
build our team chemistry. Well, they go 3 months with Prime. Hey buddy, so I was thinking maybe we have like our own
matching gear
to really build our team chemistry.
And then he's like silent the rest of the time, like trying to figure out, like, is that MJF or
just for future reference, and we don't have to worry, and we will not be penalized on YouTube. We are allowed to use other people's sound clips as long as they're for the purpose of review. So if we ever want to pull up audio,
it's a review show,
right? Well, that's but. But I remember, like, one time we were pulling up the something else, and we were worried we might get in trouble for copyright. As long as we are talking about it in a review type of way, then it's fair game to use. So we can always put clips from other shows and whatever we want. So maybe we'll start doing that more.
You guys watching Raw right now? I think we're gonna end up getting new women's tag team champs. I think it's a 2-on-1 match right now. Because Raquel's hurt backstage. Booker Andy would, you take the belts off of Liv and Raquel, then you have Raquel versus Rhea that they've been hyping up.
So you're going to give it to Sonya and
Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville.
You're right.
Yeah? Booker Andy. Strikes again.
The shirt, Booker
that was
Andy.
Like a play-by-play.
Booker Andy's shirt, white and black, both available now on ProWrestlingTees.com/the PW fan.
But spoilers for next week, guys. New tag team champions: Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green getting some gold on her. Okay, so after the MJF Adam Cole segment, the bar scene and the video game scene, Roderick Strong and Britt Baker are surprised Adam Cole actually likes MJF. So then we had the blind eliminator tag tournament match again, MJF and Adam Cole versus Brian Cage and Big Bill. Showing a little bit more of their tag team prowess. Winners MJF and Adam Cole. Do we think MJF and Adam Cole are going to win this whole freaking thing?
They could, but then, or they get to the final of it and then something happens. Because, they're not going to win the titles.
Is it them versus Sammy and Daniel, or is there another team that Sammy and Daniel and all of them have to face?
I don't know. They haven't really put up like a bracket of it yet, but I'm just waiting for that double clothesline they keep talking about.
Dude, when it happens, though, it's going to be big. It's going to be a big pop.
I just wanted to talk about this just real quick because he's friend of the show, and you said double clothesline. I watched a clip, I think I sent it to you guys, of a friend of the show, Bro Keller, who we're hoping to have on for episode 100.
Yes.
I'm going to reach out again and confirm that. But Bro Keller was in a match over the weekend. It looks fucking awesome. He did this double... They did like a double,
yeah, he posted it.
Yeah, they did like a double big boot spot, and then they both rolled out to each side of the ring and then jumped at each other and did the Ricochet Logan Paul spot, and it looked brutal. It looked
Except
awesome.
Theirs was at an angle. They did corner to corner instead of
they did
across,
corner.
which I think
awesome.
distance would be farther, but
I was wondering though, and we'll ask Bro when he's on the show. I know that near the corner the ropes are a little tighter and a little bit more springy, so I didn't know if maybe that they would get more spring coming off the edges like that. You know
He's
what I
gonna be
mean?
like, I can't tell you the trade secrets.
I can't tell you. Yeah, but we're excited, Bro. Hopefully we sick double clothesline. Hopefully we get him on the show for episode 100. What's next?
Owen Hart Women's Tournament semifinals. Ruby Soho versus Sky Blue. Why do we like Sky Blue?
Oh, no.
Because she's got a face.
Oh my god. You can't say that.
Sorry, that's why
can't-
Tim likes Sky Blue.
Whoa. I never said that.
She's a good wrestler, too.
Dude, yeah, she's great in the ring. That's all I ever noticed.
Oh, my God. Shut up, Tim.
The face. But it seemed like...
Jesus. And cut. And cut.
So it seemed like her reaction and the audiences in Canada are different than the ones in America. I guess Canadians don't like a face.
Oh my. We apologize to Sky Blue. Sorry.
And cut. All right. So we had Owen Hart Women's Tournament semifinals. Ruby Soho versus Sky Blue. Winner was Ruby Soho. So she will be going to the finals. And then we had Swerve Strickland defeating someone who's being hyped as Darby Allin's protege, Nick Wayne. They've been telling this story. He's like an 18-year-old prodigy, they keep saying. But Swerve ended up defeating him. I thought he had a good match. I wouldn't say anything like we've seen a lot of wrestling. I wouldn't say it's anything. But for his age, yeah, he's very, very good.
Yeah, I was going to say, for 18 years old, he looks a lot better than some of the people.
I will say, I don't know why he's wearing like a puka shell necklace. Or maybe not puka shell, but it's like a...
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
Giving a hard time. And then...
2002?
The main part of the show, though, was Blackpool Combat Club, an elite segment. Pac would end up attacking, I believe, Kenny, and it is revealed that he is the fifth member for the Blackpool Combat Club at Blood and Guts. And Kenny would announce that Kota Ibushi finally is the fifth member for the Elite. Kota Ibushi finally come to AEW. That actually makes me excited for the Blood and Guts match. I did not care for it, never do.
Both
but
of them are good choices.
Yeah. So I'm actually really excited. So what they call them the Golden Elite, right?
Golden Elite, yeah. Because they're Kenny
it's
and
all of them
Ibushi
together.
are the Golden Lovers.
Golden Lovers, yeah. And then the Elite. So Young Bucks, Hangman, Kenny, and Ibushi versus Blackpool Combat Club and Pac.
Have you ever looked up
it's gonna be wild on Wednesday.
Have you ever looked up a Sissy Boy slap
Fremont
fight?
for Street?
No, Sissy Boy slap fight.
Sorry.
No.
It is a old video on YouTube, a home video, if you will, that Kenny Omega made with friends, and his name, Old Tyson's in there. That's his real name, Tyson. Tyson's in there. You can find him. Sissy Boy slap fight. That's your homework for the weekend.
God, you make me hate him.
I try a little bit every week.
Anyway. All right, SmackDown. Bianca Belair opened up the show. Charlotte Flair would interrupt, and they would come to an agreement that if Bianca wins her championship match later against Asuka, then it will be Belair versus Flair at SummerSlam. What do you guys think about this feud?
I think Charlotte's going to win.
Flair and Belair.
She always wins.
I think Bianca needs to turn heel, and then she could win, but I'd be fine with it then.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a good match either way, because I think both of them... Have they faced each other before? They have, right?
Charlotte? It's weird.
If so, not for a while.
I mean, yeah, she has been around a while. Charlotte's at that, like, John Cena level right now when he was wearing, like, the orange shirt where it's like he's done everything. It's like, what...
She doesn't have to be.
What else
champ.
is there to do?
Yeah.
I mean,
what is she, like, 14-time champion?
She's main evented WrestleMania. She's 14-time champion. She's won the Rumble.
She's
Money in the Bank is the only thing she hasn't done.
She's probably like the best. You know, I don't mean this just from like so and so in Japan is a much better worker. I don't mean it like that, but I mean she's probably like the biggest women's wrestler.
Because she wrestles like a man.
Yeah. Okay, Andy.
She wrestles like a man, hits them ropes
hard. That's why you like Rhea, guys. That's why you like Rhea, guys, because she wrestles like a man.
Oh my God.
I think we said that in our last episode.
But is he
No,
wrong?
we didn't.
Is he wrong? I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, look, guys. To be honest, it's not my words; it's Corny's words. But
Jeremy's like, yes. Jeremy's like, I want it to be very clear that they are both wrong. I am not involved in this. Or the Sky
Corny
Blue
can say
saga.
all he wants. Yeah.
we love Corny. Some of us. So yeah, Tim, what do you think about Belair versus Flair?
No, I mean, look, it's on paper. This is exactly the type of match I would want to see. Two great competitors, and we were just giving them a hard time. But like, two great competitors, two great wrestlers, and it's just again the Charlotte thing. It's just like she even went away for a while and came back, and I still feel like she's like too much. You know, it's like
I do feel bad for Oscar though because because they're focusing on Bianca and Charlotte so much, they're not even focusing on the champion.
Yeah, I want Asuka to win though, or I'd like to see Asuka do more. I like that they changed her character to something more serious.
Oscar the Grouch.
Yeah, they made her the Grouch now.
All right. We'll get back to Oscar later. Pretty Deadly defeated Oscar. Pretty Deadly defeated the Brawling
Jeremy's
Brutes.
like, there we go.
Yeah.
And then Bailey would end up. Bailey defeated Zelina Vega. Afterwards, a video of Shotzi was shown shaving her head after Bailey had previously cut her hair. Now, on a serious note, the reason why she actually shaved her head is because her sister has cancer, and that is why she's shaving her head. So they wrote that into storyline stuff.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. Way to
the
bring it back to a serious tone.
But
Had to do it.
No, I think, dude. I mean, I just see that a lot. Being a barber, and I just think if you do that,
I've seen videos of barbers doing it mid cut.
Oh yeah,
because
I
of
saw
one
this.
of their.
Yeah, I saw a video of a lady getting her head
Tim.
shaved. Yeah, I saw a video of a lady getting her head shaved because she had cancer, and then all of a sudden, all the barbers like turned on their clippers and all started shaving their heads too.
That's the one.
Cool.
That's the one I saw.
Yeah, that was a really nice one. Yeah.
Can you imagine Tim cutting his locks?
I would do it.
Tim.
I would do it for. I would shave my head for family or for Jeremy. I would do that. I would go bald for you guys.
I was about to say not for me, but I was like, oh wait, I'm family.
Yeah, no, you're not. You're not family.
So then we had a segment with Jey Uso, which they're actually
Jeremy
right now
is
on
family.
TV.
He's an adopted Forrester brother now.
That was actually kind of nice.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. Sorry guys, scrolling through notes. Yeah, so Jey Uso cut a promo. He had a lot to say, talking about how they injured Jimmy the week before. Paul Heyman and Solo Sikoa would end up coming out, basically saying that it was all Jay's fault of why Jimmy is hurt. But main event, Jey Uso wants to take on Roman Reigns in the main event at SummerSlam.
Do you
You
think
know,
he
he's
wins?
the last guy. He's the last guy to pin him. Look, they're making it believable that he could be the one to dethrone Roman,
Yeah. But
either him or Cody. But they are hyping it up that he could. I mean, I would like the false finishes could get me in this match. I wouldn't be like it wouldn't be just something happened where I'd be like, no, he's not going to win. Like they could definitely get me.
yeah.
Did you see the tears, guys? When Roman was
Cody's tears.
no Roman's tears when he was saying, "I don't need this anymore. I don't need to be the tribal chief." And then he's like down on his knees, and then he gives him the low blow. Did you guys see that part?
Are you talking about the week before?
Yeah. Well, we've been off a while.
Yeah. That's a tribal court from last week. He was selling it good. I really thought he meant it for a little bit, like you're saying with the tears.
Yeah.
But then he would end up low blowing him and taking out Jimmy.
He's like, dude, the casting directors are watching this right now. When I get my big break, like Cousin Rock, I'm gonna be killing it.
Cousin Rock.
He's like, Rock, put in a good word.
Cousin Dwayne, put in a good word for me.
But yeah, no. Jay right now is like the top babyface in WWE, probably next to LA Knight. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he would end
Yep.
up super kicking Heyman, which got a huge pop, and he teased a chair shot to him, but held off on that. So I thought this was a good segment. Before we get into the next one, Tim had some gripes. I forgot to add this. Some gripes with Grayson Waller's debut match the week before against Edge.
Yeah, his gear sucks.
Yeah.
It's fucking.
He
looks
also
like-
said he couldn't go. I didn't think he can't
I
go.
didn't. I
think
thought he moved. I thought
his
he
gear
moved.
sucks.
I thought he moved awkward, and I don't get what he's supposed to be. I get that he's wearing sparkly boxer shorts. That's cool. What are you? You're like generic stock wrestler number 1 from a creator wrestler on SmackDown vs.
Yeah.
Raw. Like,
So I tell you guys to watch NXT. This is how he was in NXT. I was not surprised.
yeah, boring.
I even said, "Is he what? Is he wearing his boxer shorts?"
That's exactly what MJF would call him. Generic wrestler number 2.
What is he? Is he just a guy? Like, I'm not saying everybody. I'm not saying everybody needs a character, but like, even like the AEW guys that just have like their name, at least they have like fucking cool gear or something. I don't. Like, what are you? Are you like? I don't get what you're supposed to be.
Do you know what his I mean, I would say, can you guess what
He's
his
tall.
independent
He's tall and
scene?
lanky. He's tall and lanky, and he's awkward.
Blankly.
He's lanky, and he moves awkwardly, and I just don't get it yet. I'll be
So the
open-minded.
independent scene, his name was Matty Wahlberg, like Mark
No.
Wahlberg, but Matty Wahlberg. And he is your age, Tim. He was born 90.
They all are.
Don't worry, Tim also hated Edge's gear. He didn't like the
Edge.
colors.
I texted Andy. I said Edge isn't getting off either with his poop green, his poop brown gear. They both have horrible gear on this shit.
Okay, moving forward though. Sorry, it just dawned on me because speaking of Grayson Waller, we had a United States Championship Fatal 4-Way Invitational. Grayson Waller, AJ Styles, Butch, and Santos Escobar. In the end, Styles would deliver a phenomenal forearm to Escobar, but before he could capitalize, Karrion Kross appeared on the video screen as he attacked the OC backstage. This distraction would set up the finish, which a surprising win from Santos Escobar of LWO. Now, I don't know why this AJ beat Karrion Kross clean in the ring the week before. And they have it going. But
it really just matters for this next one.
Yes. Well, because this isn't the only United States Championship Fatal 4-Way we're getting. We're getting one next week, and the two winners are going to face each other to see who faces a forgettable champion in Austin Theory. Anyone even thinking about him anymore since Mania? No.
Absolutely.
Almost forgot about the United States Championship.
No, because think about it though. I just want you. It's literally the same shit. Obviously, they're not the same character and they look different. But whatever they were doing with Austin Theory, all of a sudden they just took that and they just gave it to Grayson Waller and was like, "Here, you try it. See if it works for you."
Yeah.
like it's the same shit. It's the same type of push. Like, put him in the ring with Cena, see if it works. Like,
well, thankfully, Waller didn't win that invitational. But next week, we have Rey Mysterio, Cameron Grimes, Sheamus, and LA Knight going at it. If LA Knight wins and he loses to Santos Escobar, they really drop the fucking
guys.
You better win everything.
Guys, we gotta talk about some unfortunate news real quick. Big Kev, Kevin Nash.
apologized. He apologized.
Did he?
Me and Jeremy were talking about this before.
Did.
Oh, thank you, God, Big Kev. Oh, I love you so much. I didn't want to have to talk shit about you.
He said, "Look," he said, if you're making the company money, and you're making Paul's life easier, and again, you're making a company money," he said, "which I'm a stockholder," and he's like, "then by all means," he's like, "be the guy." He said, "There's 394 hours of wrestling a week. I don't have time to watch it all." So he did apologize, though.
We love Big
is...
Kev. We love Big Kev here on the PW fan. He hurt me saying that LA Knight was just a ripoff of The Rock and Stone Cold, and I was like, you can take elements of something and have a love letter to it without being like a knockoff. You know, it's not like he's out there doing the people's eyebrow and bald. You know, like doing like a combo. But I mean, yeah. But I get what he's saying. But I was like, Big Kev, no.
Yeah,
LA Knight
also the fact that LA
literally
Knight is
everywhere.
Yeah, LA Knight's super over.
Well, speaking of him, first of all, Kevin Nash apologized and he said, "Well, one thing I've got to say is 4 or 5 years ago, man, I thought wrestling was gonna die. I was just like, God, every show is bad. Then Raw started getting better. I've just never been a SmackDown guy. We didn't have SmackDown, and when I went back, I was rarely on it." Okay. If LA Knight, if he's the chosen one, if he's the people's champion, then he's the people's champion. It doesn't fucking matter to me. If his segments do a number and that fucking helps the WWE, which I'm a stockholder, and it makes my buddy fucking Paul's life easier, then fuck, get over, dude. Yeah. It was just one of those things where I don't watch SmackDown, so dude, I didn't know who the fuck you were, and I apologize. but some of us that are in professional wrestling actually watch sports, watch film, occasionally read a book. I do other things besides watch wrestling. There's 394 hours of wrestling on television a week. I just can't do it. So he's basically saying he didn't really see too much of LA Knight.
I love Big
judged before.
I mean, I thought the same thing when I first saw LA Knight. I was like, dang, this guy's kind of like The Rock.
I've been hyping him up since he started being on it. I've been telling you guys since day one.
But like,
True.
I watched NXT.
I didn't. When I first saw him, I definitely thought
around.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, this guy's like a mixture of The Rock and Stone Cold, but I didn't think of it in a offensive way, like where it was like so like blatantly like, ugh, you know, like not like that.
It was more of like the attitude of it that he had.
Yeah, and it's like the charisma.
Yeah.
But then you realize no one else on TV has that throwback kind of
he is a throwback
with the talking.
He's a throwback to the over the top '90s wrestler, and he's awesome.
That's why we love him.
Yeah.
So LA Knight though would come out and cut a promo to a huge ovation and claim that fans would soon be calling him champ. I don't know if you guys know this, but that little 2-minute, 3-minute clip of him, whatever, got 4 million views in 24 hours. It's like WWE's biggest in a while of how quickly and how many views it got.
You know how?
Look, man, if LA Knight.
Oh, I just wanted to say real quick. You know how I do the collection of those big glass shelves, and every era of wrestling is represented, and there's a character for every
Where's
era.
an LA Knight fig?
Dude, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm looking at because I don't know if when Mattel puts out like the proper LA Knight fig of how he is now, I'm looking over at my shelves and I'm like, someone's got to go to make room, and it's either gonna be WWE or NXT UK Pete Dunne, Johnny Gargano, or Fiend Bray Wyatt. Somebody's got to go to make room for LA Knight. I don't know who it's going to be yet.
You take the Fiend out; he's not relevant.
Yeah, the Fiend
now.
can go.
He's not relevant.
You're a quitter, Bray.
Right now.
You're a quitter.
He's
You took your ball and went home.
We're talking about current.
He's done again.
He said, "I don't like my creative."
Yeah, I don't. Is that what it is?
He said it just like that too. It's like, I don't like my creative.
So, yeah, I mean, it was a huge viral moment for LA Knight. If he wins, I mean, he better win the Invitational. 2, he better beat Escobar. And 3, he better take the belt off of Austin Theory. Look, Austin Theory was a Vince guy. All right?
He was.
And no one gives a shit anymore. I was telling you, I forget that he is even the champ sometimes because there was weeks in a row he wasn't even on TV.
Yeah.
Gunther's on TV all the time.
That's
he's an Intercontinental champion, but not the U.S. champ.
Hey, Gunther, speaking of throwback wrestlers, Gunther's a throwback to like straight up like fucking 1975,
shit out of people?
1980, just smacking the shit out of people. Yeah.
Sal Bandini, want to wrestle? Just beating the shit out of people.
Sal Bandini, want to wrestle? You kicked him in the face. No, I just gave him a little flick.
By the way, did you see when Jericho mentioned Stu Hart in Calgary? He thought the fans boo. He's like, "Really, you're booing Stu Hart?" No, they were going Stu.
Yeah.
Because then the announcers corrected, and they're like, "The fans are chanting Stu."
Yeah.
Okay. Moving forward.
Should he call in again soon? We got to reach out. He hasn't called in a while.
No.
Maybe next. Not right now. No.
Maybe
how about I have him on episode 100?
No,
maybe next week
or 2 year.
Maybe Stu pops in. Time.
Maybe the following week after that.
Maybe he'll come.
Moving forward, the Street Profits welcomed a Bobby Lashley back to SmackDown in a backstage segment. Which felt like the seeds were being planted for an eventual Hurt Business revival and add-on, or maybe replacing Cedric and Shelton with the Street Profits. They all got into a nice, Suburban together and drove off. So
Could be
maybe
good.
we'll see Street Profits and Bobby in a new revived Hurt Business group.
If you bend a man's arm back long enough, he'll start to squeal like a pig.
WWE Women's Championship match is our main event. Asuka versus Bianca Belair.
Who?
Charlotte Flair's at ringside. Bayley and Io would end up coming out. If you remember, Io Sky is the Women's Money in the Bank winner. Charlotte goes to spear Bayley, but accidentally hits Bianca.
Charlotte goes to Flair.
Charlotte goes to Flair. Charlotte goes to spear Bayley, but accidentally hits Bianca. Because of this, Asuka would win by disqualification. Io would then tease a cash-in, but Asuka hits Bayley with the miss and leaves the ring, stopping the cash-in. And Asuka heads to the back. So that would wrap up SmackDown. Let's get into Collision, unless you guys have anything else you want to add.
Nope.
No, I think I've made all
All
my
right,
little
Collision.
stupid jokes for the day.
The first hour and 10 minutes-ish
Best
was one match.
tag team match I've seen on
Dude,
TV.
Collision's great. Collision is...
This
besides
is
the MJF and Apple
wrestling.
stuff on... So were you guys able to
That's
watch
how I feel.
clips or the whole match?
I
I
watched the
watched
entire
this-
thing.
I had to watch clips, and I watched it today, so I'm pretty caught up.
2 out of 3 falls, FTR versus Bullet Club Gold. I don't think anyone expected it to be like this.
I thought it was
The
going to be
week
a
before-
20-minute match or something like that.
So the week before, Bullet Club Gold beat FTR in order to get this title shot. So the first fall wasn't even done didn't even happen until like an hour in.
I think it was like 30
Um,
minutes in, but yeah.
Apparently, a lot of it was improvised, which I love to
crazy.
hear something like that for something
That's
like
amazing.
The
this.
best. Don't talk about
Um,
your shit in the back.
yeah.
Go out and do it.
It made me have a whole. I can't talk shit about Juice Robinson anymore. If you can go that long
Rock
wrestling,
hard, Juice Robinson.
rock hard, Juice Robinson. I already like Jay White, but
Yeah,
I mean,
call,
Jay White can go. Jay White's had those long New Japan matches. He's known for going a long time in the ring.
I will say this, and if you understand, you understand. He calls them gin and juice, but Corny gives Jay White and Rock Hard the thumbs up. He's a fan. He likes both of them, thinks they're...
Did he review this match?
I haven't listened to that yet, but he loved their first match.
I'm curious what he says about it. Well, I know he likes FTR a lot, and I know he's come around to liking Bullet Club of Gold.
This I feel like this was the match that everyone was waiting for FTR to have in AEW because they haven't had like a crazy good match for a tag team. Like they've had really good matches, but nothing like this.
I mean, there's so much happened in this match. I don't even know
But I'll say like
specifics to say.
they made
besides
Jay
it was
White
just-
look really good in this match. Like when he kicked out of what was it, those 2-3 finishers from FTR where they did the Briscoes
Oh, yeah.
finisher, and then like, the one before that, and he kicked out, and I was like, they're making
Everyone
Jay White
looked
look
great.
amazing.
Everyone looked great in this entire match. I mean, the fans were off their feet basically the
Yeah.
entire time. It was one of the best matches I've seen on AWTV in a long time.
I think
It
it's
should have
one
been
of
on
the,
a pay-per-view. It should have been in Wembley.
yeah.
But I just...
But,
I mean, you
but,
can't put an
also,
hour-long
if they would have
match
booked
on
that
that
for
show.
Wembley, everyone would have been like, "What is this for Wembley?"
Yeah.
But this to me was like one of the best TV tag team matches I've ever seen. It doesn't like any.
Oh,
company.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah,
Like-
TV matches, maybe not, but team tag matches, TV
Yeah.
tag matches for sure. What were you going to say, Tim?
No, what I was going to say is it just goes to show that, like, yeah, this was like a modern style match that was fast paced, but like, you can have an awesome tag match without doing the most, quote unquote. Like, just, you don't need to be blading on camera and have fucking 6 front flips off. I don't know. It just goes to show you can have a match, and people were like hyped on it, you know? And that's where I was saying in the beginning of the
Well,
show. it feels like AEW fans really legitimately now. At first, we joked, like I kind of was like, "Oh, that'd be funny," but it really does feel like now there's going to start to be like you got your colliders, you got your collision people,
Colliders.
your colliders, as Punk said, and then you got your you got your Dynamite people, and it is weird. They are starting to split a little bit. I'm starting to see people argue, like on Twitter, about it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, Dynamite's definitely that more like entertaining show rather than wrestling.
That's
'cause they have all
their
other
Raw.
spots.
It's the
Dynamite is their
Raw and
Yeah,
SmackDown.
yeah.
Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's their flagship show.
Raw, but SmackDown was always the wrestling show, which that's what feels like Collision's going to be.
SmackDown was always better during the ruthless aggression than
It was.
Raw.
It
SmackDown was so sick.
SmackDown was great. Yeah, I mean, Collision has been on fire week after week after week so far.
Yeah, this is their
My
fourth
opinion.
week, which usually like you get like the first few weeks is like their hype weeks, but this is still going.
Who
I gotta say, also, I love the Titantron for Dynamite. Dynamite's setup has been great. Look
Yeah,
wise,
Dynamite's setup's
everything's
nice.
looking a lot better, just presentation wise.
I think
Yeah, they're starting to get it.
I think even I was in the camp in the beginning. Like I thought, oh, you should make this show look like an old wrestling show, and they did for the first few years. And I even agree. Maybe that's just not the move. Like maybe like things have just come too far along, and
Yeah.
like now I feel like they've updated and it does look way better. Like I like the classic look of the
Yeah.
ramps and the tunnels, but it does feel more high budget now.
Yeah, I feel like this also shows like how long it takes for like a new brand to really start getting it. Because I
Yeah.
feel like AEW is starting to get like they have all their shows now. They don't need to add any more shows. Hopefully not. They actually starting to get like what each show should be, except for Rampage. Because who cares about
I
Rampage?
really-
Look, if
I really
ROH
hope at some
you didn't
point
have
they
to
figure
pay
out what
for,
to
I
do.
would watch it.
Well, that's the other thing. I just was going to say, you were reading my mind. I said, I really think it's such a shame. It's cool that Tony bought it and it's not dead, but they really need to figure out what they're going to do with Ring of Honor, like to make it
The thing
not
is-
silly.
They film it at the Collision shows, so the presentation is there. They're using that Titantron.
Yeah,
You
right.
gotta pay to watch ROH.
Yeah.
If
No, I'm just not gonna do it.
if on
You gotta put it on
paper-
streaming service like HBO Max or something.
If on paper though, I'm buying a ticket, and you said you can go watch Rampage and Dynamite, or you can watch ROH and Collision.
Collision and ROH.
Collision
for
and
sure.
ROH, 100%.
Yeah.
Also, we've already done the Dynamite and Rampage night, and
Yeah.
it is a long
Yeah.
night. Let me tell you.
That's when they had Dark too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, a great match. FTR would end up winning though, and they wanted to shake Jay White and Juice Robinson's hand, and when the crowd wanted to, but Jay White and Juice leave the ring. I wanted Bullet Club Gold to win actually.
Yeah. At a certain point, I was like, let them just win. Like,
Yeah.
they earned it.
Well, it also continues the feud if you can do that, but
Yeah.
they
know they're
should
not
be
gonna-
champions at some point. I feel like they
Except after that match, like they have to be champions at some point.
the Bang Bang Gang with the guns in their squad now. All right,
I will
we
say
had the Owen Hart women's going.
it took a while, and I think that the Bullet Club was a big mess. It still kind of is the Japan version, but I finally think that Jay White, he tried for a while, but I think finally the Bullet Club Gold thing is putting a little respect finally back on the Bullet Club's name a little bit. Like it got a little silly for a while. It was like the NWO. It had like too
adding
many
the gold
members.
separates it from the classic Bullet Club. It makes it
Yeah.
its own thing with the Bullet Club Gold.
Yeah, it just felt like regular Bullet
Easy
Club for a
10.
while was like, just I don't know. It's like just like they parody the NWO. It felt like there was just too much.
Yeah.
Or it's like Bullet Club Gold instead of like Jay White just taking over for other leaders in the past. It's his thing
Yeah.
instead of trying to replace and be,
And that means
Anyway.
AEW
so
gets part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Owen Hart Women's Tournament Finals. By the way, this show was in like Stampede area, right?
Yep.
Was it in Calgary?
It was in Regina.
No, this
Definitely
one was
wasn't
not in
there.
Regina.
It was not in Regina?
This one was not in. I can tell you real quick where it was.
Well, there's-
Pretty sure they
one-
said Calgary there.
It was in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, which is
If
like
there's-
Stampede wrestling
if there's
territory.
one thing
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
like, if there's one thing I don't like, is being in a smelly Regina. So,
All right. Well,
All right.
this was in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. What famous wrestlers from Calgary, Alberta, Canada got that, guys?
well, there's more than one. So,
Well, his son was in the audience during this. His son was in the audience during this match. Do we talk about it?
and
I
his
mean, you just
and
say he was there. Punk gave him a hug.
Punk gave him a hug. David Benoit. AKA, he
David.
wants to go by Chris Benoit
That's insane.
and wrestle. Well, his dad was insane. Like father, like son.
Oh no! Don't say that.
I can't see it. Don't say that. Oh boy.
All right. Owen Hart Women's Tournament Finals. And it made sense to have the finals here in Calgary. Ruby Soho versus Willow Nightingale. I think most people thought Ruby was going to win, but Willow ended up
like
winning
that.
this match.
Yeah.
And then we had the Owen Hart Men's Tournament Finals. CM Punk versus Ricky Starks. What do you guys think
Another
of the match?
50-50 split crowd on Punk.
That is true. What you guys think of the match?
That was a pretty good match. I like how
Good, just
Punk,
hard to top the opener.
yeah, it's just. I mean, they weren't going to do anything that. I mean, it was a good match. It was a solid like TV match.
Punk had some pink fight shorts.
Yeah, he tried to do all the like the Owen Hart things, and everyone's booed him.
That's because Canadians are too nice. When he was cursing at the Young Bucks during the press conference, they were like, "Hey, buddy guy, you can't be saying things like that to people, boyo."
Did you see that there's a sign? I forget what it said. Something about like they called him a child and like complaining or whatever. It said something Phil. Like it was like around the front row, but it was like called him like a complainer and like lazy and things.
Interesting that you would buy a ticket to go to basically his show and sit front row to call him a complainer, but
Yeah.
Well, Jeremy actually is the one that called the winner of this match. Didn't you say that? Or you at least said it would get down to these two, Punk
Let's
and
say
Ricky.
get down to
But
these
did you,
two, but yeah, this surprised me though.
Ricky Starks ended up winning, which
That was crazy.
shows that Punk, can be defeated.
Yeah. And also,
I
he
don't
didn't
think
really
he's-
need this anyways, so I think it's a good call.
I don't think
Yeah.
Punk
So
ever.
good for Ricky.
I think Punk was always down to lose to people. You know,
Well, yeah, but like he definitely didn't need like this is a tournament that doesn't really get you anything.
Now I thought Joe was going to get involved, and
it's
they would
gonna be
continue.
just
to
like
feud, but-
Rocky IV.
But
And Punk's never seen
that
it.
does it. That does it, guys.
That does it.
Does that do it?
Does it? That's the show.
Sad.
That
I
does
don't want
it.
it to be
That's
over.
the show.
I don't want the
That
people
does
at
it.
home. I don't want the people at home to feel like they got to leave us just yet.
Well, you're gonna talk for another like 10 minutes, so they got
No,
time.
yeah. Listen to this guy. This guy's over here talking trash.
Dominic Mysterio now goes by Dirty Dominic Mysterio. It's official.
I
Ew.
don't like that.
So dirty.
Don't say it like that.
Yeah, definitely don't say
He's a
that.
dirty boy.
Okay.
It's just it's almost as bad as like the moans from what's his face.
His ace got dirty in prison.
Isaiah Cassidy.
Yeah.
Oh.
I hate that so much,
So hang on.
especially when we're wearing headphones and you guys do that.
Oh.
It's good shit.
All right, I'm just pulling up my classic show of the week.
Take your time,
here.
Tim.
Sorry, I had it written down in my notes, and then I lost my notes.
Adrenaline in my soul.
soul.
No, my dad was Dusty Rhodes.
All right, enough of that.
Andy, you're gonna do our intro, aren't you? Andy's gonna do our intro song.
Speaking of which, I did notice that we have been going back to the.
the one I used to sing.
Yeah.
I have noticed that we've been going back to the classic intro song. I am going to work on the new rock intro song coming soon.
Yeah.
The last few episodes, I was like, wait, this is the old song. I was like, Jeremy must have made the call an audible and decided to go back to the old one. He's you're back to the jingle instead of the rock.
The jingle.
I did hear that the rock song was too loud, so I'll make sure that I edit it a little differently next time. So, classic show of the week is No Way Out 2009. Pretty interesting card. You know, everybody on this list at this point is a Hall of Famer except for like one guy I'm looking at. So you got Beth Phoenix versus Melina for the Women's Championship. Triple H, The Undertaker, Edge, Jeff Hardy, and Vladimir Kozlov in an Elimination Chamber match. Shane McMahon versus Randy Orton. Finlay with Hornswoggle going against Jack Swagger. John Bradshaw Layfield, JBL versus Shawn Michaels. And then you got another Elimination Chamber. This is before they had their own pay-per-view. This is Rey Mysterio versus John Cena versus Chris Jericho versus Mike Knox versus Kane versus Edge. So worth checking out. It's an old fun show. Andy and I actually ordered this show when we were still living together many moons ago. If you notice, Edge is in both Elimination Chambers, and that has a little bit to do with the whole storyline of the whole thing. So, fun show. Watch it. We appreciate you guys joining us for episode 91. We'll be back at episode 92 next week, and we'll be talking about those Dark Side of the Ring episodes, and that's going to be really fun. Well, everybody enjoy their week. Good to be back, Jeremy, and glad that you're home and that you had a good time. We'll see you next week, everybody. Bye-bye.